Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now quite a lot of you have been asking what is my exact plan about Necropolis, and for most part without kind of trying to seem too blasé about the whole thing, because I'm definitely not. I'm definitely going to be trying to do it quickly. I haven't been able to give like a proper answer during the streams, and I haven't addressed it in the video either, and therefore I'll change that. Also to change some people's kind of like impression that I'm just kind of like, meh, whatever. No, absolutely not. Our current problem is the fact that we cannot plan the path, and that is the biggest problem. Nor we know in which combinations these fights are going to be, nor we know all of the fights. At least I don't, anyways. And I do personally kind of have several account issues specifically for Necropolis. For instance, most noticeably, there will be a lack of 7-star Shuri, which I'm basically like 99% sure that you will want for that Attuma, because there is no other really great counter for massive Attuma. There are plenty of there are plenty of champions that we can kind of sort of use for like moderate, in battlegrounds we can nuke Attuma, a bit of damage, and or we have these champions with non-contact attacks that, like, Havoc, for instance, or Nova that we can use against Attuma. But that will not work in Abyss, because in Abyss, the guy is just going to go unstoppable, and then we're going to have no way to deal with that. So, as far as I can tell, you're pretty much just going to have to nuke it with Shuri, or maybe revive us through with Aegon or something. So, all those things considering, that is exactly why I have been hoarding my resources. At this point, I believe I can take up like 3 champions to rank 5 or close to it. But there is more to it. I obviously still have the Ascension. And the most important thing is also the completion rewards. Because completion rewards are quite significant, because that will give me 2 class crystals, in which I will be either attempting to bolster whichever class I get from rank 2 to 3 gem, or I'm going to be hunting for Shuri. If I get Shuri, then it immediately means that I can, unlock a different path, and I take my Shuri to rank 2 and go forward with that lane. So my personal plan is, for the first 20 to 30 minutes, figure out which path I'm going to do and which champions I'm going to take in, and then rank those champions up, which is why I'm saving the resources. So as for the completion, obviously, somehow I'm going to get my first run in, which is going to give me rank 1 to 2 gem, which inevitably I will possibly use, 2 to 3 gem, which I will probably use if I get all but one class. And then obviously I'm going to be picking which class I need to go with. The only class gem that I wouldn't want to get for me personally is Cosmic, because I don't have any Cosmic champion that I'd be like super enthusiastically into taking it to rank 3. The rest of the classes I'd be more or less fine, and if I get any of the other class gems, then my class crystals will be the tech ones. And it's kind of a similar thing as well with the path rewards, because I can't know which path reward I'm going to be able to grab first. Will decide what order I do this entire quest and how I go about it, and who I rank with my catalyst and who I don't, because naturally we all would much rather use our catalyst and 7 stars if we have a couple of 4 to 5 gems coming our way. That said, one champion specifically, for instance, that I'm very interested in taking to rank 5, that I cannot do kind of ironically as well, because I just don't have the tier 6 CCs for that, is Human Torch. I'm about quite confident that Human Torch is still going to be the best science champion for a lot of the Mystic fights, because he is a ramp-up character, because there's virtually nothing immune to Null Flames, and he can do some of the other fights as well if there's energy damage involved. He does have the regen reversal, so there shouldn't be a reason why he doesn't work for Diablo, for instance, or something like that. And ultimately, out of all of the science champions, Human Torch, I believe, has the highest damage ceiling. When you get to 60, 70, 80, 90 smolders, you know, you're doing insane amounts of damage with Human Torch, and there's a very good reason why Human Torch was as amazing for Abyss as he was. I'm not saying that there will not be other science champions that do great, some of whom potentially I do have already as 7-star rank 2s. Human Torch just, you know, clicks to me in my mind, makes sense. And as for my starting team, again, that's kind of pretty much impossible. I think Human Torch could possibly be there, but maybe not for path 1, because I would rather do a path where I can get a rank up gem, the rank 5 Human Torch, and then do the paths where I would need Human Torch for. Then obviously there's Dr. Doom, who I think is going to be absolutely amazing for it. As it stands right now, my biggest kind of hopes could be with Kate Bishop or Nick Fury, but most likely, and this is the plan, this is the thought anyways, more than likely, I will end up taking my Aegon to rank 5. And I know a lot of people will, you know, immediately comment that it seems like a waste and Aegon is not being used pretty much anywhere in the game. And that is true. Let's face it, I'm not one of those people who, I'm going to get a ton of use of my Aegon after, you know, Necropolis. I don't think I will. Like, somebody tried to convince me that Aegon is insane for incursions pushes. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm still going to use Hercules. You know, Aegon might be, you know, I don't know, second best champion for incursions, but if I have the best champion for incursions, I'm just going to use that one. You know what I mean? However, I think taking a 6-star champion to rank 5 right now is a much bigger deal than it will be within a month. First of all, we're going to get 2 rank 4 to 5 gems as our path rewards. Isn't that much, but I do think we're going to see a ton of tier 6 basics, tier 3 alphas, and potentially also 4 to 5 gems in the Cyber Weekend offers, and then in the Banquet event. And then early 2024, I think, you know, we're not going to care too much. Just like we right now and haven't cared for a long time which 5-star champions we took to rank 5. Like, I really don't care which 5-star champions I ended up taking to rank 5. And, you know, even recently I just took some champions up to rank 5 as 5-stars just for fun, really. It's not, in my opinion, good enough reason to potentially move away what could be the best help clearing Necropolis. And that's also kind of why I want Aegon more so than other champions, because from what I have heard, Aegon's not necessarily going to be as perfect as he was for Labyrinth or Abyss of Legends. What I have heard is that you will be able to brute force him through the fights, and that is kind of going to be the plan and the point as well, to use his, you know, heavy mechanic where you get hit on the purpose, the damage is capped at 5%, and then you can do massive amounts of damage. And that, to me, sounds like a very solid safety net. If somebody, especially in my position, who is going to be going in there immediately fresh out of the gate without knowing the best matchups, this to me sounds like a very good way to protect yourself from getting stuck and having disastrous results. Like, even if you overlook and don't have a counter for a fight that would work properly, and let's say you take some degen damage or there's something else, with Aegon, you know at the very least that you can turn every single revive into meaningful amounts of damage very quickly, especially when it's ramped up, because you just start your fight, effectively use the same method that we used to chip down the Collector, right? Because none of us really knew how to fight him or even fully figured out his abilities when we went initially in the Abyss. But we had Aegon, and at the very least, we could, you know, chip down as much damage as we could before we inevitably got our butts kicked by Collector. And that is also the second point. I think he's still going to be very, very good for Nameless Grandmaster, as he was good for the Grandmaster. Because ramped up Aegon is like one of the most reliable and, you know, powerful champions in the game. And as far as it is, quote unquote, a waste of resources, again, I don't think it will matter too much in a couple of months from now. What matters right now is, again, how much and how quickly you can get through Necropolis. So part of me is thinking that I'm going to take my Aegon to rank 5 and brute force it. Again, it will depend on which paths are and are not available to me, whether we can ramp him up, and obviously plenty of other things. I do have a rank 4 Baron Zemo, which could go to rank 5, maybe. And there are a few other options. My biggest issues at the moment, the points of worry, quote unquote, is the fact that, yeah, my Aegon is rank 3, my Shuri is only a 6-star rank 4, my Human Torch is a 6-star rank 4 only, and Zemo is 6-star rank 4, which at the moment seem to be some of the kind of like more talked about champions for Necropolis specifically. So I definitely don't want to rank 5 my Shuri because, you know, I'm going to be picking Shuri out from the 7-star selector if I don't pull her before that. And I'll, you know, how to make the best choices that I can with the champions that I have ranked up already. So that's my plan. Quite little information. It's more than likely that I will end up taking Aegon to rank 5, as, you know, we actually can see the paths. That's probably going to be the first thought in my mind. Other than that, I'm going to try and, you know, find relatively easier, straightforward path, ideally with some 4 to 5 gems, so I can take up like Human Torch if I have to, or somebody else. You know, more specifically thinking about Human Torch. And also, obviously, being very, very careful what I do with my completion rewards, because that can affect a lot of things. And obviously, Maestro, I don't think is going to be important there, but 2 to 3 gem could be very important, because if I look at my 7 stars, and I'll discuss this in separate video, which would be my 7-star rank 3 options and which are the champions that I would recommend for you. But depending on which class I get, you know, that 7-star that I end up taking to rank 3 could potentially be a meaningful help in Necropolis as well, with the increased fight timers, everything else. Also, the rank 1 to 2 gem could potentially be very helpful, especially if I acquire some of the champions that could work very, very well in Necropolis, like potentially Black Cat, or potentially something like, I don't know, Null, or something like Shuri, or what have we not. Well, I'm not going to be able to get Null because that's a Titan Crystal. But still, you guys get the point. So that's kind of my approach right now. I think it's impossible to kind of plan it out properly or have a concrete plan set, because the entire plan could and more likely will go completely sideways as soon as you see how the paths are laid out, which trap nodes you kind of have to take in order to do the completion paths, where are the rewards that you want to get, like the 4 to 5 gems. For me personally, those are going to be the ones that I'm trying to get earlier, and then just kind of adjust it accordingly. So before that, just make sure I have enough revives and boosts and resources. I do plan on using pretty much 30% boost active pretty much at all times as I run through this thing. And yeah, so that is my plan for Necropolis. More than likely, again, I'm going to be taking up my Aegon for it, just because I think Aegon is kind of like a perfect choice when we don't know the best counters. Because I think he can, you know, save us from a lot of trouble. If you're doing Necropolis like a week or a month later, I don't think you should or have to. But running it initially kind of makes a lot of sense in my head. And past that, it's kind of pretty much just, you know, see what happens, see what's in front of you, and, you know, make decisions on the go. Because I don't think it's possible, again, you know, make a solid plan. Therefore, I don't think it's worthwhile to put everything to the shelves and think, okay, this, and that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. What is your plan for Necropolis? And do remember, as soon as it goes live, so will I. First 20 or so minutes, I'll probably spend planning the path out, picking the, you know, rank ups that I will do immediately. And, well, I'm not going to be sleeping much after it comes out. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about